Elle, thank you so much for being here. First of all, your hair looks beautiful. That's where I got my hair done. Shout out Henny.
Hey.
Thank you for that.
So good.
And I brought you here because of the amazing things that you do as not only in your career but as being a mom and so many things that are happening. How did Hair Love start? Ooh,
yeah.
Talk to me.
Hair Love, it's definitely a passion project. It's a family-run business. Mm-hmm. So my husband and I opened it together. It started first as, it's 3 years old now, Hair Love. We're about to open our second location. But kind of the history of that is I worked for a salon. I've been doing hair for 20 years now. Hairstylist, moved from Winnipeg, moved to Toronto, moved from Winnipeg to Toronto, and worked in a downtown salon there for 5 years, and then left to open up my own business.
Wow.
So I think I rented a chair downtown for 5 years, and then after that, I wanted to have a family. So I found it was hard because doing the entrepreneur life and then also family, how to juggle it.
Yeah.
And so what we kind of came up with was Nick and I were like, I think we should just go ahead and open our own business. Yeah. We put a lot of all of just us into it. He doesn't do hair, so everyone's always like, he does hair. I'm like, no. Yeah. So I'm more so I run I'm still cutting hair, but also managing the team and building the team, and then he does kind of the business side of it. So together we created Hair Love, and we didn't know how it was going to turn out. We really wanted to create a space that had everything we loved. The music we love, the art, the culture, the vibe, the music, that's all of us. And also family, family, urban, young and fresh, young families. So because I felt that didn't exist.
Yeah. I would say the same, because whenever I would go get my hair done, whether it be just a cut or because this is my first time actually dyeing it at your location.
So good. Honored.
Yes. It was always okay, we're here. Here's a hairdresser. Cool. You want it short, long? Yeah. How do you want it? Cool. You're done. That was it.
Bye. Yeah, exactly.
For the first experience ever getting my hair dyed, one, but two, going to Hair Love, I was like, okay, I'm jamming. Awesome. This is music that I love. So and then your hairdressers in general, they're just so welcoming, and there's the hospitality of tea and water and any snacks. I was like, girl, I'm fine, but I love that about that. That's awesome. Sorry, just to continue on that note, it's just, when I first met you, it was back at the store, and it was I always knew you as a girl that owned a hair salon. Okay. I never knew exactly what or who and whatever. Okay. And then I was just every single time, your positive energy just always came and shined through, and I was just I need to know you more, and that's eventually when we finally decided I was going to dye my hair. Amazing. And here we are, and it's just what keeps you going? There's so many things that obviously, and obstacles that you just mentioned, trying to run, a business, but also take care of a family. Yeah. Tell me more about how your journey has been.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Yeah. It comes with a lot, I think more than ever, with so much happening in the world, you are reminded what keeps you going. Yeah. And why, obviously we all are challenged, and there's days that you're just oh, what am I doing? Sometimes I talk a lot about thinking you're not doing enough. Yeah. I think, or sometimes the imposter, imposter, what's that word? Syndrome. Yes. Imposter syndrome. You're am I doing this? Am I a good leader? Can I do this? Am I a good mom? You have, there's all these roles. You question yourself a lot, and wearing all those hats, I think it comes with responsibility. But I think for me, it's I feel truly blessed to be able to do what I love to do. Doing hair for me was kind of my art form. It's I genuinely love people. Yeah. I think for me, I love hearing people's stories.
Me too.
Yeah. I find this natural, and I just feel it's one thing to share your story, but to also listen, and and then for me, my art and that with people, it just was natural for me to go into this hair world, and then creating the space to do that. So Hair Love, we literally put it in the name of our business, is literally the love of it all, is opening up space, like creating space for more than just like beauty, but also like creating a like community, you know. And I think,
and you have done that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're just trying to build. And I think what keeps me going now more than ever is like obviously my family. There's so many people that like believe in us, and like the family, the support, my salon team, like they're the ones that keep me going. Because like in the beginning you question like, hey, am I good at this? Okay, you figure out you're good at this. Yeah, am I capable? I like this. And then people follow. You know, whether it be clients finally in your chair, likes on your social media, or you can connect or reach to people. I feel like for me that's kind of like, that's what keeps me going. Is like, I always say, like, I post a lot of like, I try to post a lot of like, stay on the positive tip for sure, but also realness like into social media. But I always feel like if it helps one person, like I don't need like how 100%. Many hundred like thousands of followers. And I just like, if it helps one person get through the day, or if my haircut has helped that one person like feel good in that moment, like that, and
that's
for
what
me,
it's all about. Like people don't realize that them as a human is as impactful as anybody out there.
Totally.
And we can all be on the same equal playing field. We can all do our thing and still make that impact. And like you said, social media is that world now where you are kind of caught up and you're just like, ooh, I kind of want to be like that. I kind of want to do this and that. But why not use that platform to better the world or in some way? And you definitely do that. And
thank you.
And honestly, like I just on that note too, like I always see videos of your children, your daughter, she's always dancing. Like, how has it been being a mom of two now? Like that's incredible.
Real.
And
like,
first of all, thank you, right? And for like, being here. Just
it's
bouncing a lot.
You know, I always say like, eyelash extensions and lipstick and like good hair is the secret. But yeah, you know, it's not easy. I think being a mother or a parent in general is one of those like, like it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's also the most gratifying thing that you could ever have is a child that looks up to you. You take care of the whole time, like you're their person. So it's like, you know, I think being you never know until you feel it. And I know that sometimes, you know, people say that, but it's true. You know, like it's so cliche to say like, oh, you never know that love until you're there. But it is true. You know, I think. But now, for me, like I'm a mother, but also of two girls. Yeah. You know, in this day and age, it's like, ooh, I almost feel like that I take that with such like responsibility to kind of really guide them, because more than ever, like in this day and age, like they're so influential. And at such a young age already, whether the music, you know, like, so it's important that, you know, Nick and I both like, you know, like we also want to bring them into our world and not change that way, you know what I mean?
And
like
kind of just like embody that into their lifestyle.
Like we have to, like, you know, the first year with Nyla, like we didn't have any like family here, his brother, but they have kids too, but it's just like we would bring our daughter to our staff meetings. We would bring her to work, like she's at the salon all the time, and even till this day, like a lot of the culture is like very family friendly, so I bring my newborn in, and like it's because that's just real, like, you know, like I want to try and do both. But yeah, being a mom is amazing. Like I never knew how much like I love being a mom until you are. I think my first love was my career, and I'm totally being honest, like is like that was probably one of the hardest kind of
segues,
transitions. Like in my life personally was like being like a workaholic, and like thinking like that hustle, like work, I'm gonna hustle, like
me right now.
And that's all that for me was my first love, you know. I'm like, I got this, and then like boom, you're pregnant, and then you're this child, and you don't know how you're gonna feel. You can't control it. There was a part of me that I was like, oh my god, I don't like this feeling of not being able to like know.
and know. Like, it's just one of those things where, okay, there's something growing inside of me. It's coming in a few months, and I don't know how to feel right now. And then here we are now.
And then just trying to, you know, go through the motions. Like, I went through lots. Like, I'll be totally, like, vulnerable and, like, let you in that way. Like, for me, my first, with Nyla, I went through, like, a prepartum. And I didn't even know what that was, Meliza. Like, I didn't even know that existed. But it was because I was such a workaholic. And so I actually was forced by, like, my doctor and also with my husband, like, the help of him, to stop working for like 2 months. And that was like the biggest challenge for me, for someone to say, and this was my own business at the time, because I was pregnant. They're like, I kind of hit a wall.
And obviously, like, trying to run a business while you're pregnant, it's like, this is my baby right now. I want to make sure everything goes smoothly and goes well. And during that wall that you say, like, what emotions were you kind of, like, what was going on?
You name it, like anxiety, depression, like doubt, worry, and then you feel guilty because it's like a beautiful blessing to be able to carry a child, and then you feel, but then you feel like you don't want to let anyone else down. And I think the pressure of this being a superwoman in this day and age, like, it comes heavy sometimes. Like, you know, you see, like, you know, power mom, like boss mom, all that also comes really loaded with, like, I think
you want to own up to it, and you also want to stay true to it. It's 100%. Like, you know what, I am this boss mom, I'm running my business, I'm pregnant, and I'm about to have a baby. But you just said prepartum, you felt like at your lowest, or one of them.
100%. Like, I didn't talk about it for a long time because I didn't know what that was. I didn't, you know, and it's one of those things, like, you never hear about that stuff, right? But I think after you get out of that hole, I think for me, it took me a good year to be able to share about it and talk about it, because I felt like it's like, I think statistics say that like only 15% of women suffer or get affected with prepartum, and like postpartum is more commonly talked about. So, and I think, you know, so where I, like, fortunately enough, I didn't go through the postpartum, but I had suffered through pre and didn't know it. So I think that's what was challenging. But, you know, if there's one thing I said that really, like, was my, like, you know, like, either that light that I needed to like, is like when you reach that kind of bottom, or where you feel like, I can't do this anymore. You question yourself. It's like, I thought about, maybe I'm not going to run this business anymore. I have to choose. Maybe I can't be a mom and run a business.
You question yourself. You're like, am I capable?
Totally.
Like, you go into life thinking that you're the superwoman. You're this person that can do all. You mentioned, you were a workaholic, and you still are, I'm sure. And it's one of those things where you're just like, you know what, I got this. We got this. But boom, hits you, you're like, wait a second, I don't know if I got it. Maybe I shouldn't run this business. Maybe I shouldn't, you know, like, maybe I should just pursue being a mom.
Totally. And you can even question if you want to be a mom or not. Like, I've heard a lot of females do that. And that even, like, I couldn't believe that. But that's one of those things, you're like, maybe I'm not going to be the best mom, because, like, why do I feel like I want to work more than, like, that, I hear that a lot now, too. You know, that I hear a lot that they're like, oh no, my career's first. I get that. I was there, you know, and I think now if I could share anything, is like, it is possible. You can have both. You can't, you know, if you want, if that's what you want. You just don't need to choose one or the other. And it may not, I think my advice would be, like, it doesn't have to all be at the same time. I'm still learning that, though. Like, for real, like,
it doesn't show. I feel like
no,
you got it all.
like,
I was like, girl, LB's got it. She's balancing children and businesses.
It takes a village, but, like, I think you're constantly doing the work. I think it takes inner work, like, every day within the day. You're learning and growing and kind of forced to face certain obstacles that, like, of growth. Whether it's like I have to bite my tongue, or I have to breathe through it, or I have to not choose to be confrontational and just let this go. Like I think now as building a team, we work a lot with people, and it's about learning like how you work with other personalities and how you know, like balance is like whew.
It's huge in everything you do. And on the note of balance, being a mother, I've seen Nyla. I've met her a few times. She's the sweetest child ever. She can dance.
When she wants to be.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. She can dance. She's bilingual. Like being a parent, you and Nick, like wow, what do you guys do? Like tell me more about being a parent.
Well, you know what's awesome, like Nick grew up with a single mom, and he's a twin. Yeah. So you know, I think his story is amazing. Yeah. And then I've both my parents, fortunately, and a strong Filipino family. Like I've also 3 siblings, so big, huge Filipino family. And then Nick's side, like I feel like we really wanted to show like kind of bring both of our cultures into with Nyla. So he speaks French, and then I, with me, like the Filipino and the culture, the dancing and all of that food. But for, like, I think for us as parents, like we constantly day to day are like, we need to be present parents. Yes. We need to try our best to be as present as possible. Even if it's like, bringing her with us to these meetings and things like that. Like Nyla goes into daycare and she talks about, this is my business, this is the cash deposit, these are my like her verbiage is like
so intelligent.
She's but I think she still has a lot to learn. She's 4 going on 14, but I think Nick and I, it's like we want to also expose her to a lot of the things that we didn't get to do growing up. So like Nick and I both were into like hip hop and but we didn't have all the elements, like all the opportunities to like go. We just did it on the street, like
think of something you're interested in, you just do it.
You're hanging out outside, listen to hip hop, like this. But for her, it's like we put her into like a good hip hop class and like the music, even like for the music she listens to, her favorite is Michael Jackson.
Oh, his legacy lives on.
I think for us, like Nick and I, it's like we still want to still be like us, but with but we're still learning, honestly. Like I think as parents,
doing an amazing job at it.
There's days where we question that for sure. And just like any parents, you're like, oh my god, how like your patience gets tested every day. And I think the role of parenthood is you don't know. Like every day is different. Like I think that is just as challenging as running a business. And being an entrepreneur is because the hustle is constantly going to. You don't know what it looks like, but you have to keep going. How do you stay relevant? How do you stay on top of the game? How do you get, build, grow a network, put yourself out there? But then that's the entrepreneur business life. But then your child and parenting is going to keep you on your toes just the same.
Exactly.
There's days when they don't sleep, they're not hungry, they're going through stuff, and then you have to you
got to be there for them.
You have to be there for them, and they don't care about the business part. They just care about your attention. Exactly. So I think that for us is probably the most challenging. Is like not trying to spread ourselves too thin, and kind of be as present with everything. Because I think as we're growing our business, I think they need us just as much as our kids. Like we want to keep guiding and mentoring and leading them as a team, but we need to be there. Just like I think that is probably like the biggest challenge, and we love it too. Like
that's really good.
We want to be there, but you can't do it all. I guess.
It's huge. Try. And you touch on a lot of things like being present in the moment. You really need to do that with everything you do. As a parent especially, it's like, okay, I have a daughter who's needing for my guidance right now, but I can't put my focus onto something else or else I'm not going to be there for her. And there's just so many things and items that kind of come into play during this journey. So with you and hair, when did that come about? Was it something that, did you go to school for it? Did you decide that you want to do this first, or did you think that there were other career options for you?
Yeah, great question. For me, I think I'm the baby of 4 kids, and raised in a traditional Filipino family where sometimes, your parents would love you to go in a direction of one area, because it's expected of you. But because I was the 4th, I feel like I was able to just really explore. I started just kind of playing with my sister's hair. I have 2 older sisters and a brother. And then it's funny, I was 15 and I started doing my sister's hair, and then they'd have, Filipinos have debuts, it's kind of like 18th birthdays. So she would tell her friends that I could do do their hair. And then she's like, let's charge them. And I was like, yeah, let's charge them. Yeah. So I was 15. She made me a business card, and we would charge her friends $10. So they would come with I think that was just my creative outlet. I just had, I used to play with it, their hair, and then they're like, oh my God, Laura, you're so great at it. So then after so many people tell you you're good at something, you're like, maybe I could make a business out of it. And I enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, check. I enjoy it. I like it. And then by 17, so 2 years of just doing people's hair, with my little business card. I even called it
That reminds me of my baking business. I started really young too, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this. Let me continue.
Yes, exactly. I think it's one thing to have a hobby, but then passion, turn it into profit. Or okay, this is possible. This is possible. I can make a business out of this. And then, I was never a big school book person. I just know that.
I'm with you on that. I have a good degree, and I've done all my stuff, and I did what I had to do, but for some reason there's obviously, you just have so much more interest in, like you said, art and being able to be creative and in your own element. There's something about it that just drives you.
Totally. I think that for me was and then the business part came, and then I was like, okay, I like that aspect too, So it was that's how I got into hair, and then after hair school went straight into hair school. And then after hair school I worked at one of the biggest salons in my hometown in Winnipeg. But I think the pivotal point in that was deciding that I didn't want to just go to any salon. There was this one salon that was really high end in Winnipeg, and there was no Filipinos there. It was kind of like that, everyone always thought, oh, Laura, you're just going to work at the corner Filipino store. Not that there is anything wrong with that, but I was like, no, I'm going to aim higher.
I'm going to do it.
I want to be, and what's crazy is I was the first Filipino that worked there, and when I left, the salon owner of still 40 years, who I still look up to, he's like, thank you for pioneering kind of this with your community, because it he loves the Filipino work ethic. I'm very Filipino pride, and he also was that salon particularly didn't even cater to more of the culture community until I started working there.
Trailblazing.
So that for me, I love that, because that also was very intimidating. Because when I started, to be honest, they didn't even know about Filipinos if it wasn't the the ones helping their kids grow up. And I had people say that to me.
Wow.
And I remember that moment. I was 18, and I had a client say that to me, and I was like, well, that's great for the kids, because the kids are going to grow up with such great values. Because
say it to them, and repeat it. Because they instill that onto them.
Totally. And I think that's kind of what helped really elevate my drive to be I wanna do great in this industry, to just not just be I want to
make that impact for being who I am, and not having you all think that it's just this way and not that way.
So then I left that salon, and I'm happy to say it's they've had more cultured hairstylists there, and someone said to me you're LB, you were the first Filipino hairstylist that worked there, but now we have 4. I'm that's awesome. Yeah, I was like, I didn't know about this until 10 years after, because now I'm in Toronto. Yeah. But I think that was really cool.
So you left your mark everywhere. You made your mark, and you did that just by being you. That's who you are. Thanks. And what was that transition like coming from Winnipeg to Toronto? And what do you think now about the culture and the shifts that have become?
I love Toronto's culture. That I think that for me, when I moved here, as hard as it was leaving my whole family, because my whole family is in Winnipeg, and I miss them all the time. But the culture here, I was like, hey, this is cool. Yeah. You know, like I love that. You know, like there's something here for everybody. You know. And then it definitely came with its challenges too, because Toronto's such a hustle bustle city. So I knew I had to kind of be on my game too. I think for Toronto, it really like kind of created a backbone for me. Because you have to like, you know, like back then too, it was like there was no social media. So as a stylist, like no one would hire me because I didn't have the clientele. There was no social media to kind of like showcase your work or anything. I like carried a big ass portfolio and be like, here's the photos of my hair, and people are like, well, you don't have a clientele. So it's a different world now. But I think the transition for me, it took time. I think there's a lot of like, you go through an identity change too, because you're like, am I a new now? Like it's literally to the point that I'm like LB. Whereas like in Winnipeg, it's like Loriebelle, Lore. So that's kind of a funny joke my family says. They're like, oh, she's so Toronto. She's just LB. So like, I know, but it just, I'm like, that's so Toronto, you know? Like, but I think what's funny now is that like, I think anyone that moves from anywhere to come to the city, I really love hearing their story, but also love to sit down with them. And half of my salon team is not from originally Toronto. And
I've met a few of them. They're like, I'm from here, I'm from here. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I love that.
Like I love the fact, like I get that idea, and I mean, I think everyone's story is really cool, but it's just like, I know how hard it is, and because you go through like, have to meet new friends, I have to like figure out myself, like you go through like reinventing yourself all over again, and then like creating a world with you in Toronto.
So. What I think about that is like, I like it. I like the fact that you're able to step one outside of your comfort zone, but two, you're also in a whole different space where you have to deliver and you have to present yourself as who you are. And it's like, am I Winnipeg L or am I going to be Toronto L? Like, you know, like what is it about me? And then you get into the forest and you're like, okay, this is who I am. Okay, we're good. And the great part is too is that like, because not so many people know you, and I say this to you whenever you travel, it's like you're able to express yourself in your most genuine,
authentic self. 100%. It's true. I think that was huge for me when I moved here, is that, you know what, no one did know me. No one's tied to me to high school ways or your families or, oh, I remember when you were like that. Like, you know, like not that, you know, history is great. Like I think history is great, but then in the new phase, it's like, you're right. Like I think it's refreshing. It is. It's a rebirth really of yourself. So like that's kind of it really, and I think being on my own without my family, I mean, my partner was here, like my boyfriend, who now is my husband, lived here, which was great. So that was a good support system. But it also like allowed me to figure out like, what do I want my life to look like? You know, with like, from my lifestyle to the culture, like how am I going to take care, like that self-care that we all talk about, like, you know, I think that's when I really got into like more of like being active, because like Toronto, you have to be on the go, and you have that like I feel like
sorry, go ahead.
I think you have to prioritize that just as much. Like I feel like if you don't have that time to take care of yourself, you can't keep going. So like you said, like some of those things. It took
me a long time to realize that. You're going, and you're like, oh wait, maybe I should sleep.
I know. Sleep is, honestly, I would buy it in bulk. I was like, sleep is so important, you know, like the time that I went through that kind of that phase, that hard, I literally could not, I was like insomnia.
Wow.
Like I had insomnia for probably like a good 3 weeks, which I would never wish on upon anyone else, but like it's just like that level of stress that keeps you up, that it is crazy how much the body affects everything.
It does.
Yeah. So
and people don't realize you need to take care of it.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that comes into play. You know, you're an entrepreneur for one thing, but two, you're juggling a whole life.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you don't take care of yourself, you don't take care of your body.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna crash and burn.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like once you hit those obstacles, those are such great growing points.
Totally.
Those are moments where you're like, wait a second, like I just went through all of this and now I'm fully able to grasp what just happened. And like we mentioned earlier, you start to finally realize to be patient and trust the process and be able to realize like there's more factors that come into play, and it's not just I'm gonna be, you know, a hair salon owner and here we are. Boom. No, there's grit.
Totally.
There's so much that comes into play, and like we just mentioned, you opened up your second salon.
Yes.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
What has that been like?
Oh,
my gosh.
it's been quite a journey. Yes. A lot of challenges. The whole kind of push. Why? That's a main thing. Like, why are you gonna open your second? Like, because you know. But for us, is like we really wanted to solidify the footprint of Hair Love in Toronto. Yeah. For me, having a great salon uptown is awesome, and I see a busy day where there's, you know, I have 10 of my salon team and tons of amazing clients, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like things could change. You know, like you hear about it all the time with Toronto real estate, you know, things like change and it's not yours, and like you can like, what is it all for? And I had said, I think that for Nick and I were like, I think we're gonna go all in. Yeah. So we just feel like we created this awesome business and we have such a great team around us. I want to also do it, like solidify our footprint for them, so that they have security, but we also have security, and so do my children, like the future. So we did a kind of crazy big jump, and we sold our house. We had a house bungalow, you know, like space and everything. But I just felt like I think we're gonna go all in and kind of sell our house to, you know, take a property and create our business. Amazing. And like do that, live smaller. So we live close by, but it's like we downsize. Yeah. So it's kind of like a huge sacrifice that we're doing, having another one. But we really wanted to open a second salon in the East End because it's also closer to home for me and closer to our kids. And we felt that we wanted to grow our family, but this also meant we were going to grow our business so that we can kind of go that way. So so Uptown, it has more of a young professional feel. Yeah. Some families too, but with all those condos going up in the LRT, it's like up and running, which is good. And so now we're working on opening our second location in the East End, which is more like family friendly. Yeah. It's right on the Bloor line, so it's gonna have like the same feel, but also like also invite another huge community in. Yeah. But I think that for us is like that was the push of why we were doing it. And sometimes like these opportunities come and you just feel like an opportunity came and we had to jump. Yeah. We saw an opportunity and we're like, we're gonna do this crazy risk but big jump. But I think at the end of the day, you know, it's gonna really it'll be worth it in the long run. No, I think when you're going through the motions right now, it's challenging. You know, like moving in general is hard, but then throwing a newborn in it. So my newborn is 6 months. So we moved when I was pregnant, and then we got the space and moved in after she was born, like a month after she was born. So we were living through renovations and then dealing with like contractors and stuff. But like opening
wow. Congratulations. First of all,
thanks.
You like everything that you said right there just shows me everything's possible.
It's crazy. I don't know if I divulged too much, but hey, I
went like sharing everything. But wow, you sold your own home to build a second location, to then, downsize, but still run a family while you're pregnant, to then give birth, and here you are now, like 6 months later. Oh my.
Yeah, so that's really like,
wow.
For us, I think the drive and the hunger comes from seeing the growth that our team has gotten, like that, like our staff, I say team a lot, but like the stylists, and I love, like, I think for Nick and I now, it's like we love growing people. I think, it's like that.
It's a good feeling. People don't realize that what can happen once you've empowered or built with somebody.
Yeah.
Boom. Like we make a relationship. Here we are now. We've helped each other in one way or another.
Exactly.
And so much more comes out of it than just like all that negativity that people kind of try and bring into the
and it's like, we want to help, like we want to help grow others, but we also love collaborating with others, like entrepreneurs, and like sharing our story. But I just feel like that is like constant for us. So when this kind of, I think that was kind of a natural step for us. Some of our family is just like, oh my God, I don't know, you guys are crazy. How are you doing with baby? But we, like more than ever, I've heard this saying that is just like, it's a good reminder that you're alive, So when you go through all of the ups and downs, it's still a reminder that you're alive.
Yeah.
And
it's huge.
Yeah. So it's like you kind of gotta go through it, and it's like for us, it's day by day. We listen to a lot of podcasts.
They're helpful. This is gonna be a podcast as well.
Amazing, like podcasts, and like we have our like inspirational kind of like gurus that we kind of study and listen to that kind of help us kind of keep your mind focused. Because those days, I think what's awesome, overall, I think for us too, it's like you as an entrepreneur, it's that freedom that you're going for too. It's like you're creating opportunity, but also the freedom to do more and to do other things.
Because you're allowed.
Because you're allowed. And I think that's one thing when I moved here, when you mentioned like how that transition, I think when I found myself being limited by a certain, I was like, what? Like, I questioned that.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I moved. I left everything to better and like give myself all these opportunities and like say yes to a lot of things. But then there's someone just limiting me, or like I felt limited by just like one avenue where I was like, well,
doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. Like, why does it? So, I think even me going in now as a salon owner, a mentor, teacher, leader, like I truly feel like I want to change the narrative and the game of like this industry that
you did, and you have been.
Yeah, thanks.
You too.
It's just like I want my people to feel like they can come, we work together, and like there's so much more possibilities, and how can we reach them together, so
what are other limitations that you could have faced, like whether it be family saying like, oh, this is not a secure job, or were there any like friends or people that are close to you that kind of impeded on your journey?
That's real. That's like real life too. I think there's always gonna, I know, I'm like, how do I word this and not get noticed? Exactly. Yes. I think it's not being able to, I think some will always, and that's okay. Like, I think some people will be like, is that smart? Is that the smart thing to do? Like, you're pregnant. Well, why would you risk this? And how could you, like there's always going to be that, and that's okay. Like, I think that for our choices may not be for everybody else. And that's totally okay. I think that it's important to know what you can go through and also what you can't. And, I think sometimes I did regret. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't regret. I've never regret, but sometimes I was like, like, what did I do? Like, what did I sign up for? There's this, like, especially when you're, when you can't, like, birth. There was this, like, people are like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself? I always like to say it's like self-induced chaos, but you've created it, you know. But it's really it's kind of what keeps us going too.
And there's beauty in the risk. There's beauty in the process.
Right. Like big risk, big rewards.
Yeah.
No risk, no reward. So at the end of the day,
yeah.
constantly, totally. Like I'm all about like failing isn't trying. So let's just keep trying. Let's keep going. Like anything that keeps us like we have to kind of remind ourselves, like we have to keep going. You know?
To, and I read something recently where it was like, do you want to be comfortable or do you want to grow? And I was like, ooh, that one hit. I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
So those are things to think about, and especially going on in this world where you're working but you're trying to make a social life. You're trying to live. You're trying to live life. That's all what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
And there's so many opportunities that present themselves to you, and one of which that I've seen is that you're on the Marilyn Dennis show. More. You're the stylist.
Yeah, I'm like one of the Marilyn Dennis hair experts. Yeah. It's she's like our Canadian Oprah, which is great. But she's been it's been 6 years that I've been working with them as their on-air hair expert doing makeovers, and I'm going to be doing kind of something with them for International Women's Week too, which is great. And it's great to be able to work with them and have that kind of platform to also, it's because you're reaching globally basically, and something that I love to do genuinely, and I do a lot of makeovers with women that there's deserving women and their stories, but then I get to do, so it's a great opportunity that kind of started with just that hustle. Yeah. So I was just doing a lot of freelance pro bono work.
Gotcha. My life.
and you know what? I still preach that now to my team, that it's you gotta do those things and can't always expect something in return. Because I'm all for knowing your worth, absolutely knowing your value, but at the same time you have to get put in, and then it'll eventually come back to you. And that's a lot of how I was kind of raised. At the same time. So it was really just doing a lot of pro bono freelance stuff. At that time I met a great makeup artist that we worked together both on a freelance thing, and she kind of passed my name around to the network, and then the network reached out to me, asked me to kind of try. They were looking for a new freelance hairstylist at the time, and it just went from there. So those are the days I worked 12-hour days, Meliza. I would be there at 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then I would go to my studio from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. go home, do it all over again, and
you gotta make it work.
There's something about that drive and hustle. I feel I wish I think it's important.
It is.
It really,
and I'm glad it's instilled in us.
I think so too, right? I
but
think
that's what sets us apart. At the same time, that's where you are where you are.
Thank you.
You put in those hours. You, like you said, freelance. Technically, pretty much means free
for
half
free.
The time.
Freelance. Exactly. Nothing. No, just kidding. Bare bones.
It's so hard.
It's true.
And people don't realize wow, I have an opportunity. It might look all glamorous online, and it might look oh, I got this, but realizing, whoa, I just worked a 12-hour day every other day. Every day. And it's just, it's crazy. Another opportunity that your team does is working with the Raptors.
Working with the Raptors again. It was I really have to give credit to our team members. That was one of our stylist's goals. And she was like, hey, Al, I really want it. I was like, hey, so go ahead, do that, and then we'll support you with that. So it just, the relationship grew from there, and now we're able to kind of have the relationship. So the Northside crew, their dance crew comes and gets their hair done, and then we go there on game days and try and do that, do their hair. This will be the second year running with them as hair suppliers, we say. So it's a great partnership, and that we love building kind of with communities that are also within our brand. So it's ball is basketball, hip hop, culture, community. That's all us. So it was a perfect alignment that we connected with them. yeah, so that's, and we're excited because I mean last year was like the championship year,
yes,
so it was our first
so
year,
incredible.
so we're like, that's amazing.
It's like, it's because of their hair.
Yeah, but like that's another thing, you know, like I really do give praise to our team that it's like, if they, you know, that was one thing I was missing when I worked in a salon for a different company, is that like you never had a voice, you know, and I think for us, for Nick and I, we know that it's, you know, we're still learning as salon owners. This is our third year, you know, so we're still learning how, you know, how to nurture our team, but also like grow the company on the business side, but how important it is to really
that
like
HR perspective.
Absolutely,
like how I can be an owner, but then also cater to my team so that they're happy.
Totally, like and fuel their fire, right? Because like their, you know, their fire and our fire is a little bit, it's fueled differently. So like, you know, it's important that like we listen, we hear that, and then we've created a platform and a company that they can do those, like help elevate them. So that's like like we meet a lot. We, within our like hair love culture, we do like 1 month meetings, like almost like all the time, and like we try to keep that going because you have to keep like the communication is huge for us. So
it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's also fun too, fun and food. But yeah, I think that's like, that for us is what we want to keep going to. And yeah, we also challenge them a lot to, it's part of like the growth and building, like, and building their business within our business. It's like, hey guys, like if there's elements or networks that you want to kind of expose yourself to, let us help you, because we may not be always in that area.
And the thing is, like, you can only know someone so much unless you've actually discussed it or have a conversation with them. And when Henny was doing my hair, that's what we spoke about. We're like, we love Elle. Like, she spoke about the hiring process and how the questions that you asked, like, really intrigued her to know that this is the right fit for me. And she was even speaking, and not just, you know, it's not all about Henny, but she literally that's told me, she's like, you know what, like, I wasn't sure that I was going to get into this business either. I've been working in the retail industry. I've been doing all these things, but then I finally decided this was it, and then like got hired with the hair love, and from then on, like, I've been super happy, and I was just like, that is so good to hear, and I could see that in all of your, like, your stylists, like they all do what they love in honor of hair love, like it's just
thanks. And that part we're tied, so we work together with like the Ontario trades, so we hire a lot of like the students that just finished schools, and so and then that's why we call it like a training, like a teaching training salon, because that's part of the growth there, and because I love that new blood, like that new blood feeling, that new energy. I think that's what keeps us going. I mean, I've been doing hair for 20 years, but it's constantly evolving and changing. I do feel lucky that I am in this industry because it's one that keeps you young, like forces you to try, but it also keeps changing. You know, it evolves. You know, it's this hair business is not what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
I don't know what a balayage was until,
exactly, and I'm learning a lot from them. You know, so I think that part about me, like my inner growth and my inner work, is allowing myself to never be closed-minded, because it's like, you know, it's not necessarily how many years you put in, because now it's just the experience and just being open to like learning what, you know, what the fresh blood is learning, you know, because I mean they're doing awesome. And I think one practice that I like to do in my interviews that I've had some of the girls say, like, never was asked that before. It's like I get them to do a lot of like mindful reflection in our interview.
During the interview.
During the interview as like homework. Because for me, it's like I want to see if they're a fit, but I want to make sure we're a fit for them. Like it's like, hey, you need to be able to interview me too. Like, what if we're not a right fit for you? Then it's not going to work. It's like a relationship, right? It's like Tinder for like So like we do a lot of like mindful practices within our culture too, right from the get-go of like the first interview to our monthly meetings. We still do a lot of mindful practice, and I find that is something different that I feel like
that's important.
It helps connect, connect each other a bit better.
And not saying that every interview lacks that, but it's also like, okay, you come in for an interview, you get all these questions, then you come back and you're like, wait a second, did I do well? Did I answer that correctly?
Yeah.
But the mindful practice where they got to do homework and think about you as a fit is huge.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was cool. That feedback I got from one of my girls was like, Ella, I really enjoyed that. And she's like, I hope I get the job, but I'm glad. If it doesn't work, it kind of forced her to do kind of some mindful practice. It's just like knowing what your goals are and what you want personally and professionally, and then seeing if if we together as a company can help you achieve that. Yeah. So I get them to write that, and then we celebrate it on their 1 year.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I look at it and be like, okay, were we able to reach some of your personal and professional goals together? Which was like one of our girls like never left the country. So I was like, okay, so let's work hard to like get you, and I'll block off 2 weeks in February right now. I've given you the approval to go on vacation. So, but now it's like, let's work hard to get there so that you're financially in a good place to do that. And then book it. And then now she's like traveling all the time. I'm like, I'm like,
you're allowed.
I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
But you give them that option, and it's so great that like you can aid to them and like allow them to get that.
I think
opportunity.
That's like, I mean, we're gonna try and keep it going. We're still learning. There's still, I think that's the constant. You're just constantly learning. Yeah. Even as parenting, I find myself like, whew.
It's a learning game out here. Yeah. Where everything you do is a part of learning. At this point, we're gonna talk, about some favorites, some this or that.
Okay, cool.
Some fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you prefer doing an ombre or a balayage?
Oh, good one. I would say a balayage.
Balayage.
Yeah, it's more. I think the ombre technically is like more of an extreme look, so I always like opt for like a more natural look, which is the balayage.
And when was the first time you got your hair dyed, or were you?
Good question. Yeah. It was 15, and it was sun in.
Really?
Don't tell.
Good.
Never again. But it was like, I don't know if you remember sun in. It's like you spray it and then you sit out in the sun, and then it chemically changes your hair.
Oh
it's awful. It's like toxic.
I was gonna say, did that fry your hair? Oh no.
Yeah. So it's like I was destined to be in the hair world to like protect people from doing
I learned
that.
this is not what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
What is your favorite food?
Oh my god, I'm gonna say sushi because like it's so different. Like I love seafood. It's like I love
And you're into sashimi and everything.
Totally into sushi. I love that's like, and it's not something I have all the time. So it's just like
I remember there's a point in time in my life where I was going like weekly. It was bad, but worth it. Like all you can eat sushi.
So good.
Oh, my life.
So good.
Do you prefer sneakers or heels?
Oh my god, sneakers all the way. Like that I have to tell you a story. Like
you came in with your breadboards today.
Yeah,
like,
did you
okay,
see
girl?
those? Yeah, like straight out of the box, limited.
I was like, ooh, these are clean.
I know, fresh and clean.
And you have such your shoe size is so cute.
It's so small, it's like a kid. But the sneakers is like one of those things, as a hairstylist, like 10, 20 years ago, it was always heels. Yeah. It was the whole, like, you had, you're taller, more professional, and it just killed my feet. And I just feel like when I first opened up Hair Love, I was wearing my sneakers, but then I brought heels. And I found myself feeling like, oh, should I wear my heels because I'm a salon owner? Like, what does the salon owner look like? I really look so young, You
kind of think about like, what am I supposed to look like?
Yeah. And then I was like, I literally had that moment where I tried it, and I'm like, nah, like this is me. This is who I am. Like, I'm gonna wear sneakers and so
comfy.
Yeah, and I was like, that's what you can look like. Like an owner, a business owner can look like anything. An entrepreneur, like that's who you are. So yeah. So now, like, all the girls always like, sneakers is a huge part of like our business too.
I love that. Yeah. What is your favorite sneaker?
I would say, it's like, everyone knows I own every single Sky High because I'm really short. So it's a Nike's Dunk Sky High. But I like.
I don't think they make those anymore.
Yeah,
I have 2 pairs, but
But I'm a Jordan fan too. Yeah, love my Jordans.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Favorite travel destination?
Oh my god, good question. Anywhere warm?
Yes. I'm for this winter.
Anywhere warm. I love water. I love the ocean. I think it's just like anytime. Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, and you are warm.
I'm with you on that.
I've never been to the Philippines yet, so that's
really?
gonna be, that's like, it's in the plans. Yeah. I think we're like planning for the next 2 years.
I went there when I was 3,
Okay.
but I didn't really get to embody the culture and whatnot. But I see beautiful photos.
Yeah.
People talk about it all the time, so I'm definitely gonna have to check out everything. Your favorite quote or motto that you can live by?
Good one. There's so much.
Yeah.
But the motto that's written on our salon wall is "Do what you love, love what you do," and I feel like that's just kind of like really we are able to embody that. It's like do what you love, love what you do.
Yeah. And that ties into a lot of things, like literally your life. It's just like if you have a passion for something, you do it. And then if you love it, then that makes it even better.
That's it. Yeah.
What is something that inspires you?
Good one. There's a lot.
Name them all.
I think what inspires me, I always go, like I love seeing people kind of, I love seeing people kind of conquer their own fears and conquer their own, like doing that inner work. Like I love seeing kind of that self-improvement, like it's daily, and I feel like I do a lot of my own, but like people around me, that inspires me. I think it's really personal stories and what inspires me, like I think it doesn't need to, you don't need to have all the accolades or followers or whatnot. Like I have to share a silly story, but just yesterday, like I went to just like a salad bar, and it was this, this amazing Asian woman. She's like, her name is Wendy. Shout out to Wendy. But she, she lives like so far, but runs this big salad bar business. And, it's not about social media accolades or whatever, but it's just like realness, like she's, 50 plus, whatever, like it's those like real life people, like those unsung heroes that continually doing what they're doing for a better purpose. Like that's what inspires me, because it's like, I think sometimes you question, but you get caught up in kind of the pressures of daily things right now, and I find that a lot, like I think that is what's, sometimes I've even got caught in it, when you're on social, you can you find yourself comparing or wish, I feel like when you get stuck and clouded, you have to kind of like find that shift right away, and to what inspires you is those like daily, everyday, like unsung heroes that are just doing it because of like a better purpose.
And I feel the same way. Like even if it's like me grocery shopping and like the cashier or the people that are cleaning, and it's just like, gosh, I want you just like there's an urge in you that wants to give back to them somehow, because you just get so inspired and like happy to see that there's people genuinely just doing their job and doing it out of the will of themselves. And it's not like, oh, I'm doing this just to, maybe they are doing it to make a living, but at the same time it's like, I'm not doing this just to get shine or followers or whatever have you. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think it's just seeing that, and like that inspires me to do more. Like I love art, and music is a constant inspiration, because it drives you. I feel like music is huge for me. Like it can be the difference of a good day and a bad day. Like if I don't have the right music playing in the studio, it could throw me off. So that's another element of like inspiration is music. I think when people ask about my kids and like, how did she learn how to dance like that, I'm like, because she was born into this world with music. Like it's just like, for us it's like, and they're gonna constantly, that's like, I love the fact that we were born into a culture where we didn't necessarily could choose the music. Like we had to listen to the radio. So now it's just like you like one genre, but like I love the fact that I was raised into a world that I had to listen to everything. So I think that's kind of one thing I want to share with our family is like just expose them to so much more music and art. So.
And with music and art, is there anything else that you do aside from just hair or just listening to music? Or have you ever touched into other hobbies or interests?
Yeah, like for that, like I would have told you that I'd be like the dancer hip hop triple threat if I wasn't into hair.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome.
I think dancing for me is like, is a second love that like if and when I do have more time, I want to do that more just for like the love, just for like the exercise, the energy, that feeling. We like to work out a lot. Like we're very active family, and I think that keeps us going. But yeah, I think another hobby for me would be like dancing. Yeah, for sure. I miss it. I just like, so, like even now, it's like, where do you go? Like I don't know where to go to. It's just a jam.
There's a ton of like workshops and stuff here and there, but
Yeah.
it's also like, okay, like when will it fit my schedule, or when?
Yeah, I can't. That's it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
What is something that you wanted to tell your younger self, or if you had to tell yourself something?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Take your turn.
Yeah. If I was gonna talk to my younger self, I would tell her to learn how to love yourself and embrace everything about you, and find that confidence in that younger self, and not to second doubt yourself, and never to compare, because I really feel like that younger self, I went through a lot of like doubting and things like that. So I think I would tell my younger self that just to learn to love all your flaws and love all your differences, because that's what's gonna make you shine and grow.
I love that.
Because you don't know it until after.
Yeah.
So no one's ever asked me that question.
Well, I'm glad I did.
Thank you for that.
No, thank you for sharing that.
That was a good one.
No, I'm so glad to know that, and what you just said there is gonna, inspire so many individuals that are watching this.
Yeah.
And I know, and it's what you just said is an embodiment of like what we go through as humans, as women, as someone that's trying to grow and become something in this life, in this world. And for you to even share those words is huge, and I'm just so happy that we had this conversation, that you're here right now. And
so good. So good. Thank you.
I cannot wait to see everything that comes about, and you're like mid-kids.
I know. I was like, just wait until the end. My makeup. No, just kidding. My lashes are gonna come off.
Right. So you're gonna get another fill, But before we wrap up here, what's next? So many things are happening, I'm sure, but what's going on?
I love that. What's next? I think for us, we want to make this decade the best one yet.
Yep.
You're
going to.
Yeah. We really we were really challenged. We're still kind of going through the motions, but we really want to make this one the best one yet, with 2 strong salons, 2 strong teams, two little ones, but like families, but overall like finding that time for the balance for our family and the business as a whole. Like I think sometimes it's so chaotic right now. I think we're almost over that kind of hump to be just kind of enjoy the ride a little bit. So that's what I'm hoping, like we're striving for next, is like just to be able to enjoy the ride.
Yes.
And we're excited for that. So
I'm excited too.
Yeah, 2020.
We're here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Double hug.
So great. So good. Thanks.
You're amazing.
That's awesome.
No.